Hello and welcome to For Loops in Python. My name is Laura Harris and I'm excited to describe for loops for you today. Let's get started. A for loop iterates over items in a collection. Here is a visual representation of the flow of a for loop. You'll notice that the for loop executes a set of statements for each collection item. So if I have a list, for example, that has 3 items in it, I will then look at that list and say, okay, here's my first item. I'm going to execute some statements. Did I reach the last item? And I will continue going through item by item until eventually I reach the last item and can exit the loop. You can use for loops for any collection. So here is a string example. For x in the string Ford, print x. And you will notice doing this will give you F-O-R-D, one letter for each item in the string. As I mentioned a minute ago, you can do that with lists. So here is the cars variable, which is a list of 3 different strings. For each item in cars, I'm going to print that item, and so you will see the output is Ford, GM, and Tesla on different lines. Try it out for yourself. A break statement stops the loop prematurely. And you have seen break statements before with the while loop. So with this, you have your example where I have a list of cars. I'm going to go item by item until I find GM, and then I'm going to break my loop. Notice in the example 2, we have changed the order of the print statement with its relation to the break statement. Play around with example 1 and example 2 and notice how the output changes in Python. The range function returns a number sequence ending at a specified number. So here I have an example for x in range with 6. Print the x. So you'll notice that we start at 0 and we're going to increment 1 up until we hit 6. You can start at a place different than 0 by specifying. So here you have an example where our range is 2 to 6 with increments of 1. We can also change the increments. So here I'm starting at 2, going to 30 with increments of 3. Again, enter all of these into Python and notice the outputs. The range does not return the last number specified. This is similar to the random functions and splicing functions that you've seen earlier. You can have a nested for loop, just like you can have a nested while else loop and a nested if else statement. A nested loop is always a loop inside of a loop. The inner loop is executed once for each iteration of the outer loop. So let's see what that means. Here I have 2 lists. I have colors and I have cars. And you'll notice both of them have 3 items each, all strings. I set up my outer loop to go item by item through the color items. For each color, I then am going to bring up each car item, and then as a result, print the color and the car. Try this code out in Python, and notice how you're going to get a nested loop output. Thank you for joining me today on this brief overview of for loops in Python. Please reach out with any questions. My email address is training@msu.edu. Have a great day.